Thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. We have a taste delight for you that we are about to imbibe in as a part of your lunch. My role with EarthX, one of the elements of my role at EarthX is to ensure that we have impact. I love impact. I love having impact. And in order to have impact, we here at EarthX, part of the design is that we have 10 different kinds of stakeholders in this room. We're not like another conference that might have financial stakeholders and investor stakeholders, or conservatives or progressives or retail or whatever. We have 10 distinctive kinds of stakeholders that have an impact. What are we trying to have an impact on? One of the areas that we are seeking to have an impact on has been developed by you folks in the room over the last 6 years or so. These are 10 marketplace changes. 10 changes that retail and consumer brands can make in their supply chains that can have a global transformative impact, things that they can do. And so we've identified these 10 changes over time, and this year we said, who can we rely on, who can identify for us the companies, the 10 companies that can most effectively, right now, that are most effectively advancing these. Of course, it's an impossible task, but there's no one better suited to do that than KoAnn Skrzyniarz, the founder of Sustainable Brands. And so I am proud to introduce my friend, KoAnn. KoAnn founded this organization, this community of sustainable brand leaders. These are CSOs and senior executives with top retail and consumer brands all around the world. And she did it because she knows that they are drivers of solutions when they have the right partners. So we asked KoAnn and her team to pull together what they believe are the 10 to be awarded this year and the one that we're going to feature at lunch. And without spoiling that surprise, I'm going to hand it to KoAnn, whose conference, by the way, you all should attend, to KoAnn. And after this lunch, KoAnn and Robert and others, we're going to have a full meal about this in the Carpenter Room. The Carpenter Room, we should remember that, it's just after Easter. The Carpenter Room downstairs at the back end. So, KoAnn.
Oh, Bill, you're so kind. And I will say, you and I share the desire for impact and have a fairly long track record of doing this work together. You and I have known each other for a couple decades, I think.
That's right.
So it's really an honor that you've asked us to contribute.
You do this. You are an entrepreneur in this area. You're passionate about it, and I love it.
Yes, absolutely. So just to your point, Sustainable Brands started in 2004. Really out of a belief that branded companies have the opportunity, they're situated in the best place to impact all aspects of the value network. And we are very proud to be bringing together a group of multinational companies and regional leaders in order to help enable them to find pathways to good growth and business value through innovation for environmental and social good. It's an honor to be able to recognize some of our corporate members today. It's a difficult task because most of the companies in our circle do think very integrally about the work that they do and how that they can drive business value out of their innovation pathways. And so none of them are necessarily isolated to focusing on one of these areas, but the companies that we are honoring here today are definitely leading in the areas that Bill has identified that EarthX is really interested in. So take a look at these companies. We have a very short time today. SustainableBrands.com will be covering these companies and sharing more about the specific initiatives that each of them is leading that give us the reason for recognizing their work. Again, they're not the only companies doing this work, and many of these companies are doing similar work, and all of them are working together. They're all part of the Sustainable Brands Corporate Member Network. Today, though, we're very fortunate to have Amazon with us today, and Robert Kowalik, and I hope I'm saying your last name right. I didn't even ask.
Perfect. We both have Polish names.
Yes, we do. exactly. And Robert is the VP of Worldwide Environment at Amazon, and he oversees Amazon's efforts to transparently execute their carbon goals while adapting to emerging issues such as climate risk, supplier engagement, changing energy policies, and so on. He's leading the teams that are responsible for carbon neutrality, water waste, climate, circularity, biodiversity, and supplier and sustainability solutions teams in their work to deliver against their commitment as a founder of the Climate Pledge to reach net zero by 2040. You told me earlier how many people are under your purview. Can you tell us?
I actually don't have an exact count, but it's probably a few thousand across throughout our businesses. So we have a lot of different businesses in Amazon,
a lot of people,
a lot of geography. So there's a lot of people focused on sustainability. But every Amazonian is an ambassador of sustainability.
A huge role, and I will acknowledge that we work with a lot of people at Amazon who are in the weeds doing this work, and it's really great to have you with us today. I'm just going to give you a couple of highlights on some of the initiatives that Amazon is delivering against in support of the thing we're recognizing them for today, their sustainable cargo and shipping. That includes their investing in electric delivery vehicles, which significantly reduce emissions from the last mile delivery. They're investing in sustainable aviation fuel to reduce emissions from your air cargo. They're experimenting with all manner of net zero buildings and powering many of their logistics hubs and warehouses with renewable energy. And in fact, they're the largest buyer of renewable energy in the world these past 5 years. And they're using more and more AI-driven tools to optimize shipping routes, reduce fuel consumption, and lower emissions. And they're doing great work at reducing packaging through innovations like frustration-free packaging, which also reduces cargo weight and emissions. So I'm delighted to have you here. As Bill said, we're going to be speaking further in more detail after lunch in the Carpenter Room at the back of the expo to hear more from Robert about the specifics of his work. But give us a few words now, and then we'll see you all,
Thank you.
hope.
Thank you so much, KoAnn. Thank you so much, Bill. I'm absolutely humbled, and being surrounded by all these amazing companies, I have a super high level of respect for all the work they're doing. So just humbled and totally excited about it. But yep, I think when we founded Pledge in 2019, we said we're going to hit net zero targets, net zero carbon in 2040. Like, we didn't know how to do it, and there's still a lot of unknowns we're working through, but we're not backing off. We're committed to hit the pledge, and we're marching the orders. It's just been an exciting journey, and if you don't know, back in 2019 when we committed to hit to a 2040 net zero pledge, we knew it's going to be really, really hard. And also Amazon has changed a lot since then. I think for what most consumers know Amazon for it's obviously the boxes we're shipping and all the deliveries you're getting through the vans and transportation network, which we're investing really heavy to decarbonize, from global mile, from aviation, from ocean freight, from obviously your last mile deliveries and electric vehicles, which we committed to have 100,000 of those on the road by 2030, and we're on pace to get there. We're known for our devices. You obviously have Kindles. You're reading a lot, probably on your Kindle. You know Alexa. You have the Echo. You might use a Fire TV. You might use a Ring Bell. But there's a lot of parts of Amazon that a lot of people don't know, and those are operating in very hard to abate spaces, and that's kind of where a lot of our focus is. Like, similarly to transportation, we put a lot of effort and a lot of work into all of those hard to abate sectors. So we operate data centers, Amazon Web Services, which is we call it AWS for short. We have obviously a data centers, which probably most of you since 7 a.m. this morning, when you're whether watching a movie or streaming music or doing banking or ordering your taxi, you're probably using some sort of a data that's sitting on our servers, which also comes with challenges when it comes to decarbonization for circularity, for components, for energy, and other parts, which we've been working on. As KoAnn said, we've been the largest purchaser of renewable energy in the world for 5 consecutive years. We have 600 renewable energy projects around the world, which is a big number. But there are parts of Amazon that a lot of folks don't really know. We're in the grocery business. Obviously, Whole Foods Markets is part of Amazon, which comes with beef production, with meats, with dairy products. So there's a different decarbonization pathway there. As part of our devices, we're launching satellites. We're launching 3,200 satellites that are going to provide low broadband communication, internet communication around the world, which also comes with challenges. We have a company called Zoox, which is having a self-driving vehicles, taxis, future of transportation, which comes with their own challenges for decarbonization. We have Amazon Clinics with One Medical Clinics all over the country. We do have obviously our MGM studios in partnership with MGM. The next James Bond movie you are going to see. We're also working on decarbonizing film industry and how we stream music, how we do ads. So it's a phenomenal journey. We're committed still. Amazon changed a lot in the last few years since we made a pledge, but at the end of the day, we're just committed to hit that pledge, and not just for carbon, but also water, waste, biodiversity, and a lot of other metrics. So appreciate being here with all the great companies, and thank you for the recognition.
Well, let's thank Amazon and Robert for all of his work, and do come after lunch to hear more of the details about all that he's doing.
And I want to remind folks that the power behind the power is all of the people in this room. Again, we've got 10 different kinds of power represented in this room. And we see these 10 brands here, and you see the areas in which we are recognizing them. These are all areas of priority that have been set by folks here at EarthX over the last 6 years. We've identified these priorities. Now we've identified these winners. Why do we recognize these winners? Because there are people inside every one of these companies that are taking career risks and being a driving force for positive change. The traditional environmental system has been to trash companies until they're perfect. And we cannot afford to do that any longer. We need to identify the companies that are doing the best job and highlight them, reward them, and bring the business to them so that the other companies, gather in the same way. So these 10 brands, we want to reinforce that positive way of doing business. We're going to have a conversation in the Carpenter Room after this about how to do that. So we invite you to join us for that. Enjoy the rest of your lunch and the great presentation that we've got coming up. Thank you, folks, and we will see you soon.